As you can see from my background, I am an avid reader. I believe leaders are readers. And there's a lot you could learn if you just pick up a book. So I want to come to you from the book titled The 50th Law. The 50th Law. This book was written by Robert Greene, who is also the author of another one of my favorite books, The 48 Laws of Power. And he's also the author of Mastery and The Art of Seduction. So he writes a lot about strategy and power and things like that, which makes his books, for the most part, required reading for military students, military school, officer training school, and a lot of politicians follow his writing as well. The 50th Law he wrote with who else but 50 Cent. Curtis 50 Cent Jackson. The 50th Law was inspired, Robert Greene was inspired to write this book after studying 50 Cent's rise, you know, in the rap game and everything that he kind of did on that journey to becoming a bajillion-dollar rapper. So I want to pull out a little bit of the book and talk a little bit about fearlessness and bullies. But not the bullies that you're used to, you know, on the school playground, but the kind of bullies that you might encounter in business, because they are there. Those same playground bullies grew up. And if they didn't learn their lesson, they're still bullies, just in adult bodies. So I want to read a little bit from the book and then kind of talk very briefly kind of about how you as a business owner can deal with business bullies from the out of fearlessness, not out of fear. So this is what's called the fearless approach, coming from the book The 50th Law. So 50 Cent says, the way I learned it, the kid in the schoolyard who doesn't want to fight always leaves with a black eye. If you indicate that you will do anything to avoid trouble, that's when you get in trouble. And the sad thing is, in the business world, there are still people that troll around looking for trouble. And a lot of times the bullies, the ones who are looking for trouble, the ones who are looking to incite trouble, they look for the person that is trying to avoid trouble the most, because that's the one that's not going to be willing to engage in the trouble because they're busy trying to avoid it. So listen, in a highly competitive world, we have to assert ourselves. In the book, he says, life involves constant battle and confrontation. Constant. So that means, especially in the business world, if you are not asserting yourselves, you are going to always be at the business end of a bully, right? You are always going to be the object of a bully. So this means that there are people who are more aggressive than we are, and at some point they're going to cross our path. They're going to try to block you. They're going to try to harm you. They're going to hate on you. They're going to copy what you're doing. They're going to try to tear your business down. They're going to talk about you, all of those things, right? And the thing is, you could just be minding your business. But remember what I said at the top. The kid that tries to avoid trouble the most is often the one that ends up with the black eye. So you are probably thinking, I'm doing the right thing. I'm avoiding trouble. I'm staying in my lane. I'm minding my business. Then I shouldn't have to deal with this. But oftentimes in all of that, you are attracting the bullies to you. So he says, in the past, people in general had a greater taste for battle. Nowadays, people are more skittish. We run from confrontation, right? We just want peace. We're afraid of saying something that could offend people around us, as if their egos are fragile. We will do anything for peace, right? We're always the lamb, always the lamb. But even Jesus had to become the lion at some point. We're going to talk about that. But anyway, so in the book he says, when dealing with aggressors and passive aggressors, these are your bullies, we can be quite naive. We want to believe that people are basically peaceful and they desire the same things as we do. And it's oftentimes too late when we learn that that's not the case. We align ourselves with people that because we're good, we're generally good, and we don't want to do any harm. We think other people are the same way, and we get ourselves in trouble. We walk into the trouble, or we open the door and we let the trouble walk in. We set ourselves up to deal with bullies. So he says, we work to postpone or to avoid conflict. And when they reach a point where we can no longer be passive, we lack the experience and the habit of meeting them head on. Don't you know that the bullies know that about us? The bullies know that we will do anything for peace. That's why they pick at you. Because they know that you will do anything to preserve the peace. They know that you will not confront them head on. That's why you need to confront them head on. I know you're probably thinking, Monique, good Lord, I dealt with that in grade school. I dealt with that in middle school. I dealt with that in high school. You mean to tell me I have to deal with that as a business owner? Yes, because people are still people. So he says the first step in overcoming this passivity is recognizing that the ability to deal with conflict is a function of inner strength. It's people that are strong internally that can actually confront conflict and deal with it. You're not always showing your inner strength when you are passive. Sometimes the lion has to come out, because sometimes that's the only thing that those bullies will respond to. Sometimes being passive only emboldens the bully. When you walk away, that only emboldens them. That makes them think that they've got you running. So sometimes you got to stand up and you got to confront that thing head on. That's just what you have to do.